Parasite, Gu, breeding long vitae path, starting from the love-enamored Gu. By Thousand Lakes True Person. Chapter 81, Selling Grain at the Price of Gold, the Steady Zhou Sui. By dusk, many loose cultivators returned from the city center, dejected, empty-handed, and utterly depressed. What happened? You couldn't buy any food either? Someone asked. To hell with buying, stores are closed now, no one is doing business, even if you have spirit stones you can't buy any grain. A grey-robed cultivator cursed under his breath, entirely infuriated. He had never experienced anything like this before. This is too ridiculous, how could there be no food, could we cultivators really starve to death? Someone else complained. Ah, you don't know how astonishing the prices of food are right now, they're changing 3 times a day. A white-robed monk spoke with a terrified heart. In the morning, he could just afford the price of the rice but thought it too expensive, so he didn't buy it. Who would have thought that by midday the price doubled, and he started panicking. By evening, even when he raised the price tenfold, no one was selling. Isn't that the truth? Earlier, I tried to exchange a lower-grade magic artifact for some grain. But, I found that one magic artifact could only exchange for 30 kadi of spirit rice, more than that, people simply ignored. This is too outrageous, a lower-grade magic artifact can only exchange for 30 kadi of spirit rice, is this spirit rice some foundation pill? Why is it so expensive? This is too absurd. And that isn't even the worst, someone pulled out a yellow dragon pill, but no one would exchange it for rice. Wow, since when did the price of spirit rice becomes more expensive than pills? That's just insane. It can't be helped. Rarity breeds value. It's all due to those demonic cultivators who burned the granary of Misty Cloud City, so now there is hardly any spirit rice left. Right, pills can't be used as food and won't fill the belly. Now, spirit rice is far more valuable than any pill. Ha, I don't believe that all the spirit rice was burned, there must be a lot stored somewhere. Indeed, a lot of spirit rice is stored, but people are hoarding it, not willing to sell, instead raising the price. It's blatantly profiteering and bleeding us dry. Those unscrupulous merchants deserve to die. With Misty Cloud City on the verge of famine, they are raising the price of spirit rice. They clearly want to starve us. If it really comes to that, let's fight the immortal mist sect to the death. I would rather open Misty Cloud City's 7th order formation than starve to death. Many loose cultivators were discussing, their faces extremely bleak. They had thought that going to the city center could provide an opportunity to buy food. But who could have thought that food shortage would lead to grain prices skyrocketing to absurd extents? Many of the loose cultivators couldn't afford to buy spirit rice, left destitute, to the point where they could only eat dirt. Basically, there was no spirit rice in circulation anymore, and money might not even guarantee a purchase. Some cultivators had become desperate. If the immortal mist sect truly made a final stand, they would rather fight them than starve to death within Misty Cloud City. But for now, they hadn't been pushed to the brink, as some had stored a portion of grain in their storage bags, capable of barely supporting them for a while. Inside the room, at this moment, the table was filled with a variety of dishes, aromatic, and abundantly stocked. A stark contrast from the cultivators outside. Zhou Sui, Muzii, Ji Binjiu, and Xia Jinjian had noticed the outside situation. The shortage of rice and meat was worse than they had imagined. Many of the loose cultivators were in a state of hunger, making them extremely irritable. They weren't mere commoners from the mundane world but cultivators who held power. If these cultivators started rioting, it would undeniably result in formidable destruction. Dear, outside our sect, cultivators are short of food, and the prices are exorbitantly high. We've stored so much food, why not sell it at a high price and rake in a lot of profit? Muzii admitted she was a little tempted. It seemed extraordinary that she could exchange a few dozen pounds of spirit rice for a magic artifact or a yellow dragon pill. It was a gold mine. It was like exchanging a bowl of rice for a nugget of gold. The profit was huge. It was hard not to entertain the idea of selling grains at sky-high prices. Wouldn't a few deals make it easy to earn tens of thousands of lower-grade spirit stones? No, we can't make money this way. Zhou Sui waved his hand. Is there a business more lucrative than our spiritual wine dealing? Turning regular wine to spiritual one profits are beyond description. We don't lack spirit stones right now. Once we start selling grains on a large scale, no matter how cautious we are, we'd inevitably get noticed. Other cultivators would realize we might be storing a massive amount of food. Once they're aware of it, they won't act gratefully and wouldn't think about trading with us. Instead, the only thought left would be to rob us of our grains. The family cultivators can gain huge profits from the grain trade because they have overwhelming strength. Even if they have to face a cultivator riot, they can suppress it without breaking a sweat. We are not capable of this. Of course, if some loose cultivators offer to exchange valuable treasures, small-scale trading can be an option. If it is not a treasure, there's absolutely no point. Although such business could certainly bring a large number of spirit stones and potentially make him rich overnight, he lacked the strength to hold on to such a risky venture. If his movements were exposed, he would certainly be besieged by the loose cultivators. Endangering himself for a few spirit stones was like giving up a watermelon to pick up sesame seeds. The loss outweighs the gain. You're right, darling. Just dealing spiritual wine is enough to fill our coffers. There's no need to risk it. Our most important goal now is to stay safe, lay low, and be as inconspicuous as possible. Ji Binjiu nodded, agreeing with him. Indeed, there's no need for us to risk. Xia Jinjian also agreed. Her beloved husband had always been prudent, taking careful steps. Even after becoming a 7th-layer qi cultivator, his disposition never changed. However, this steady character of his gave her a great sense of security. She knew some couples before. Generally, the husband would usually go on adventures to hunt demonic beasts and die accidentally, leaving the female cultivators widowed. Such was the result of conflicts. Similar incidents were not uncommon. Seems like you all are refreshed after having your fill these days. Even started contemplating on such odds and ends. Wait a bit, go freshen up and watch how I will teach you. Zhou Sui waved his hand broadly. Dear. At hearing this, Musei's legs trembled a little, blushing as if she was aware of what was coming. Okay, dear, I'll be there soon. Ji Binjiu chuckled, giving Zhou Sui a flirtatious glance. Humph, little man, I want to see how you're going to teach me. Xia Jinjian looked at Zhou Sui provocatively. A moment later, the room was filled with the warmth of spring, shadows swaying, completely ignoring the fuss of the outside world. Chapter 82, Stalking Su Tians, a night dark and windy perfect for killing. August, the scorching sun dominated the skies, making the weather increasingly hot. The crisis of food shortage in Misty Cloud City was escalating. Many loose cultivators had begun to attack the city lord's mansion, hoping for aid from the Immortal Mist sect. However, the Immortal Mist sect remained cold-hearted and ignored everyone. If anyone dared to attack the city lord's mansion, the patrolling guards of the Immortal Mist sect would use their thunder method. After some loose cultivators died, no one dared to attack the city lord's mansion anymore. Left with no other option for food, the loose cultivators started to kill each other. Every day, some lives were lost. The city was in chaos, and many loose cultivators started to form groups to protect themselves from others' assaults. Zhou Sui's home had also experienced some attacks. But Ji Binjiu, Xia Jinjian, and Musei, who had just reached the 9th layer of qi cultivation, took action and eliminated some thieves, which dissuaded any cultivators around with malicious intent. From then on, no one dared to attack their yard. After all, these loose cultivators weren't fools. They would naturally pick the weak to exploit. Going after those with solid defenses was simply seeking their own death. A home with 3 qi cultivation 9th layer cultivators wasn't something easy to provoke. After all, Musei had also advanced to the 9th layer of qi cultivation during this time. In the middle of the night, inside the quiet room, Zhou Sui sat cross-legged on the floor, operating the Insect God Sutra, quietly cultivating, exhaling and inhaling nature's spiritual energy, and boosting his internal true yuan. This was a rare night without frolic with his wives and concubines. It wasn't that he didn't want to, he simply couldn't keep up anymore. These 3 enchanting women had greatly improved their cultivation recently and their combat power was fierce. The continuous battles over the month had left him feeling a bit debilitated, almost causing him to feel weak upon seeing them. If this continued, he feared he might have to resort to eating replenishing herbs daily. He was young, only 21, and already starting to rely on replenishing herbs. This was simply unbearable. I can't carry on like this, a man needs proper rest. If I continue like this, I will end up ruined sooner or later. Zhou Sui took a deep breath. Thinking of his 3 vigorous wives, he couldn't help but shudder. If he didn't hurry and improve his physique, he was afraid he might not be able to endure it. Sooner or later, he would become a limp shrimp. Even upon seeing his beautiful wives and concubines, he would feel indifferent. That would truly be tragic. Sutians, is there any movement on your side? Suddenly, Zhou Sui felt a movement in his heart. His clone, which was placed near Sutian's, seemed to sense something. Shadowy figures suddenly entered Sutian's house. These figures were quite mysterious, all of them were at least cultivators of the 8th layer of Qi cultivation. Upon careful count, at least 7 or 8 late-stage Qi cultivation cultivators had entered Sutian's house. Honestly, he had never forgotten Sutian's scheme against him. He had never forgotten the incident with the 5 tigers of Yunshan and always kept it in mind. Having a wolf eyeing your life constantly, who could sleep peacefully? He had always wanted to take revenge. He just needed to find the right time to eliminate this nuisance. Now, in the chaotic period of Misty Cloud City where cultivators were killing each other left and right. Undoubtedly, during this period, the death of some cultivators didn't really matter and nobody would investigate it. He had originally planned to act tonight, to assassinate Sutians, but unexpectedly so many uninvited guests had suddenly appeared in Sutian's courtyard, which was quite puzzling. Keep an eye on them. Zhou Sui immediately gave an order to one of his clones, which was an offspring worm of the clone goo. It turned into a goo insect and burrowed into a large banyan tree in Sutian's home to conceal its existence. In fact, all his clones did the same and turned into goo insects, blending into various trees. Only in crucial times would the insect transform back into a humanoid clone and roam around Misty Cloud City. In this way, his clones acted like surveillance cameras, spread around Misty Cloud City, monitoring various corners of the city and forewarning of any impending danger. Whoosh! A thought sprung into the mind of the clone, spreading a silent and invisible divine sense covering the entire yard. It must be noted, this was the power of a foundation establishment's divine sense, undetectable unless by another foundation establishment cultivator. The cultivators in the courtyard were mainly at the Qi cultivation stage, naturally unable to sense the power of divine sense. Nor could they know that they were being monitored. At this moment, inside the house, besides Sutians, there were 9 Qi cultivators at the late Qi cultivation stage, each emanating a terrifying demonic aura, apparently all members of the ghost demon sect. Dear fellow disciples! Sutians bowed and said, I have identified all the nodes in the 2nd stage formation of Misty Cloud City. As long as any one of you attacks and destroys one of these formation nodes, then the city's formation will collapse on its own. At that time, our ghost demon sect's army will surely be able to conquer Misty Cloud City and capture the young sect master of the immortal mist sect, Lang Yuexi. A cold glint emerged in his eyes. During the past 2 years, he had been undercover in Misty Cloud City, masquerading as a virtuous man, disguising himself as a top-tier talisman master, befriending various loose cultivators in the city to investigate the formation nodes of Misty Cloud City. Then, at a critical moment, strike a deadly blow to Misty Cloud City. Not bad. Hearing this, a middle-aged cultivator laughed heartily. If Misty Cloud City is broken, you, junior brother Su, will certainly be credited. If your merits are enough, you might exchange it for a foundation pill in the sect and may become a foundation establishment cultivator. Oh no, I am but an inconsequential figure, only good at investigating news. I can't compare to the merits of my fellow disciples. It's my fellow disciples attacking the formation nodes, that's a great merit. If I can have even a bit of leftovers from it, I would be completely satisfied. Sutians modestly replied. He was well aware that if he indeed took the lead and gained the most merit, these fellow disciples of the ghost demon sect might turn against him and secretly attack him. In the demonic path, there was no such thing as camaraderie between fellow disciples. Only calculations of personal gain existed. Everyone wanted a foundation pill, but one had to be alive to acquire it. Haha, junior brother Su is being too modest. Your contribution will certainly be remembered by the sect and you certainly won't miss out on your portion. The middle-aged cultivator laughed heartily, quite satisfied with Sutian's humility. Elder brother, I wonder why the sect suddenly wants to break Misty Cloud City's formation. Previously, didn't our sect plan to use Misty Cloud City as bait to lure out the enemy? So we intentionally didn't break Misty Cloud City's formation. Why has there been a change in plans now? Sutians was curious about this. This was different from the previous plan and he was wondering what changes had occurred. Well, the original plan of the sect was indeed as such, but those 2 old turtles from the Immortal Mist sect are too patient. Even though we lured them in various ways, they didn't plan to come to Misty Cloud City and seemed to have given up on this city. But our ghost demon sect's golden core ancestor couldn't possibly make a move casually while having to guard against attacks from other sections. So, to completely force the Immortal Mist sect, we decided to push forward the plan, break into Misty Cloud City, and capture Lang Yuexi. As long as Lang Yuexi, the young sect master of the Immortal Mist sect, falls into the hands of our ghost demon sect, we don't believe those two old turtles from the Immortal Mist sect can continue to bear it. The middle-aged cultivator's murderous aura surged. Chapter 83, Second Stage Lightning Seal, Gold-Eating Bug Group makes a move. I see. Upon hearing this, Su Tian's had a sudden realization. No wonder the brothers were continually burning the granary of Misty Cloud City and causing chaos around the city, secretly slaughtering cultivators. They probably did this to distract the attention of the Immortal Mist sect cultivators, making them unsure of our intentions, thereby creating the opportunity to destroy the Seventh Order formation. He instantly understood why his brothers, despite exposing their tracks, insisted on creating havoc in all directions. The purpose of all this was to destroy the second stage formation of Misty Cloud City. Once this formation is obliterated, the entirety of Misty Cloud City becomes as easy as capturing something in a bag. Indeed. The middle-aged cultivator nodded. Unfortunately, it seems that the cultivators of the Immortal Mist sect have seen through our scheme. Even though we kept burning their granaries in an attempt to scatter their forces, they still haven't slackened their defense of the formation's nodes. To say that the Immortal Mist sect indeed has capable people would be an understatement. But alas, their reign ends tonight. I will lead a group of loose cultivators, storming the city lord's mansion of Misty Cloud City, drawing their attention. At that time you can seize the opportunity to attack the other formation nodes. As long as one can destroy a single formation node, then the second stage array collapses completely, and then our cultivators from the Ghost Demon sect and Foundation establishment stage will be able to break in and finish the job. He tightened his grip into a fist, his body radiating an intense aura of bloodlust. But brother, the Lord's mansion is guarded by two Foundation establishment cultivators, one is the ancestor of the Lu family, and the other is Lang Yuexi, the young sect master of the Immortal Mist sect. They are both in the late stages of Foundation establishment cultivation and their abilities are no mean feat. Su Tian's was quite astonished. He didn't expect his brother to dare to lead an attack on the city lord's mansion. It seemed like a suicidal attempt. After all, once a cultivator in the Foundation establishment stage is fully enraged, other cultivators are almost certainly doomed. Haha, what's there to fear? The middle-aged cultivator chuckled. Though the ancestor of the Lu family is a late Foundation establishment cultivator, he is more than 200 years old now and near the end of his lifespan. Also, he was said to have been injured before and is critically impaired. As for Lang Yuexi, the young sect master of the Immortal Mist sect, she is even less noteworthy. She was previously surrounded and attacked by more than a dozen Foundation establishment elders of our Ghost Demon sect, and was even poisoned. She has merely been relying on pills to hold on. She wouldn't have enough power to defend herself. Of course, even so, they're still at the Foundation establishment stage of cultivation, and are not to be trifled with. Luckily, before entering Misty Cloud City, Sect Master bestowed upon me 3 second stage Thunderbolt talismans. If I run into a Foundation establishment cultivator, I can throw these 3 second stage Thunderbolt talismans at them and I bet even a Foundation establishment cultivator would have a hard time. With some luck, I could seriously injure them in an instant. He said smugly, hinting at his hidden trump card. Second stage Thunderbolt talisman. Su Tian's was immediately filled with awe. He knew of the rarity of these second stage talismans. Any one of them could easily cost hundreds of middle-grade spirit stones, and even if you had the money, you might not be able to buy one. For an ordinary second stage talisman master, to produce a single second stage talisman would require backbreaking effort. The value of such a talisman is therefore self-evident. However, it must be said that a second stage talisman is indeed worth its price. Even a Qi cultivation stage cultivator could use a second stage talisman to mount an attack potent enough to inflict serious damage on a Foundation establishment cultivator. This is one of the special techniques that Qi cultivation cultivators possess to kill a Foundation establishment cultivator. Clearly, in order to deal with the 2 Foundation establishment cultivators of Misty Cloud City, the Ghost Demon sect has spared no cost. It's no wonder then as to why his brother was willing to undertake such a dangerous task, without some ace up his sleeve, who would willingly march into certain death. By the way, I hear you've taken a liking to some female Qi cultivation cultivators and are planning to make a covered move. The middle-aged cultivator flashed a small smirk at Su Tian's. Yes. Su Tian's nodded. My cultivation technique requires the energies of some late-stage qi cultivation female cultivators. It happens they have appeared nearby, so I thought to make a move. I didn't expect you to be aware of this. Not bad, this is the spirit of the ghost demon sect cultivators. See a woman you like, snatch her, see treasure you desire, grab it. All the treasures in this world should belong to the strong. The weak can only crawl at our feet and howl. After we breach Misty Cloud City, we brothers will lend you a hand and help you fulfill your dreams. The middle-aged cultivator gave off a murderous aura, his eyes filled with bloodlust. Obviously, in his eyes, this was a kind of reward for his disciples. It was a way to win their loyalty. Thank you, brother. With the help of my brothers, I believe this time nothing can go wrong. Su Tian's was immediately pleased. His original plan was a bit dangerous, after all, he was just a cultivator in the 9th layer of qi cultivation, and it was risky trying to deal with 3 late-stage qi cultivation females. But with the help of the ghost demon sect brothers, then, it was stage 1 to 9 all at once. Rumble. Just when these cultivators from the ghost demon sect were about to discuss something or plan their next move, suddenly, an invisible wave of soul energy struck them. It was silent and traceless. This is the power of the Dream Soul Gu, Dream Invasion. At this moment, Zhou Sui immediately launched his attack. Instantly, the unprotected ghost demon cultivators of the ghost demon sect, unaware that they were about to be attacked here, were plunged into a dream state, becoming as stiff as wooden chickens. Damn it, we're under attack. This middle-aged cultivator also felt bewildered. But one of his magic artifacts was activated at that moment, forming an incandescent spiritual barrier, and he immediately snapped out of it. He was both surprised and furious, having no idea who had launched an attack on him. But there's no doubt that such an attack on the soul was terrifying, utterly silent and insensible. If he hadn't been wearing a top-grade magic artifact, the Mind Crystal Pendant, capable of warding off soul attacks, he would likely have fallen victim to the attack at that very moment. Despite that, he felt quite bewildered as though someone had hammered his head fiercely. He felt slightly dizzy and saw stars spinning around him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The next second, several golden lights flew across the sky, like golden sword lights. They were the gold-eating bugs. 50 gold-eating bugs appeared immediately at this place. Zhou Sui had pulled out all the stops to utterly annihilate these cultivators from the ghost demon sect. He gave no quarter. These gold-eating bugs were extremely fast, their wings created an illusion as they moved like light, bolting towards the cultivators of the ghost demon sect. You're courting death! The middle-aged cultivator roared angrily. He was an experienced warrior and had abundant combat experience. In the face of such a desperate situation, he was still able to fight back. With one wave of his hands, dozens of first-grade superior talismans from his body were flung out like they cost nothing. It was as though dozens of spell attacks were erupting simultaneously. Needless to say, the sheer power of this attack was unthinkable. Rumble. The talismans exploded instantly on impact with the gold-eating bugs, producing rumbling noises. Thick smoke rose, and debris flew around. Chapter 84, The Gold-Eating Bug's Immunity to All Methods, Sweeping Across the Demon Cultivators. Impossible, they're unscathed. What the hell are these weird bugs, why are they so terrifying? The middle-aged cultivator was incredulous, for he saw golden bugs flying in midair, undamaged after being hit by dozens of talisman attacks. A burst of golden light emerged on their bodies, effortlessly blocking these magic attacks. This was the gold-eating bug's second ability, impenetrable to all magic. Due to their extraordinarily hard shells, combined with a high resistance to magic spells, common talisman spells thrown at them were like scratching an itch. It was this impenetrability to all magic that made the swarm of gold-eating bugs a natural disaster. Even the immortals trembled at the mention of their name, fearing not being able to escape. Now they had appeared in the mortal world, demonstrating some of their power. One could say they were merely flexing their muscles. That's right, I have second-stage thunder talismans on me. I refuse to believe that a mere bug can withstand a second-stage talisman. The face of the middle-aged cultivator was twisted. Seeing the gold bugs still pressing towards him, his hair stood on end and his body quivered. If these weird bugs were really to get near him, he would surely be dead without a doubt. Even though the second-stage talisman was a trump card given to him by the sect master, it was incredibly precious. But for the sake of his own life, he couldn't afford not to use it. As for the punishment he might receive from the sect afterwards, he needed to survive this night first. If he were to die, nothing else would matter. Whiz, whiz, whiz. Sadly, it was already too late for him to use the second stage Thunder Talisman. Because the gold-eating bugs suddenly accelerated, like terrifying sword lights, their speed increased several-fold. He didn't even get the chance to take out the second stage Thunder Talisman from his body when one of the gold-eating bugs, like a sword light, effortlessly pierced his energy bubble. Skill, armor break. With a cracking sound, his energy bubble shattered like glass. The gold-eating bug instantly pierced his skull, causing his head to explode like a watermelon. Blood was everywhere. This. The middle-aged cultivator was utterly shocked and confused before death took him, not knowing who the enemy was, not knowing who had moved against him, not knowing how his whereabouts had been revealed. He was filled with regret, his guts literally green. If he had known there was such a terrifying cultivator in Misty Cloud City, he would never have joined this mission, but it was too late now. Thump, thump, thump. And it wasn't just this middle-aged cultivator, the other cultivators from the ghost demon sect were also experiencing misfortune. Almost simultaneously, the gold-eating bugs instantly pierced through the bodies and skulls of these cultivators of the ghost demon sect. After all, these ghost demon sect cultivators didn't possess a top-grade magic artifact like the spirit-gathering jade pendant. Once they fell into the dream, they all stood rooted to the ground, incapable of any resistance. Even at the moment of their death, they had no idea who had killed them. One by one, they fell to the ground, bloodied. Who killed me? Su Tian's was scared out of his wits. His soul power was slightly stronger than the other cultivators of the ghost demon sect, second only to that middle-aged cultivator, so he was barely able to break free from the dream spell. Unfortunately, that was the limit. The gap between the two sides was simply too great. By the time he broke free from the dream, the gold-eating bugs had struck, instantly piercing his body, leaving him full of holes, like a rag. Without having the time to use even a single spell, he died horribly on the spot. How can this be? I haven't achieved immortality yet, I haven't become a foundation-building cultivator yet. How is it possible for me to die here, soundlessly and without any warning? I can't accept this. Su Tian's was extremely unwilling, his facial expression twisted with fury. He could not comprehend where his plan had gone awry, why he had been the victim of such an assassination. Unfortunately for him, he could only continue being a confused ghost now. Because even at the moment of his death, he had not seen the figure of his enemy. Within the entire room, there were only the gold-eating bugs that were flying in mid-air, buzzing ominously, like fighter jets cruising, a sight that sent chills down one's spine. At that very moment, Zhou Sui, who was at home, perceived this scene through the power of his clone. 10 Chi Cultivation 9th Layer Cultivators, practically annihilated in an instant with the power of the Dream Soul Goo and the gold-eating bug. It seems that with my current battle power, I can be considered invincible within the Chi cultivation stage. However, this ghost demon sect cultivator, who could resist the power of Dream Soul Goo for a moment, was indeed out of the ordinary. It appears that having a soul artifact against soul attacks restricts the power of the Dream Soul Goo to a certain extent. If it's a foundation-building cultivator with divine consciousness power, the Dream Soul Goo can't reach the extent of instant kill. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. He was quite satisfied with the results of this battle. Although the ghost demon sect cultivator almost countered during the battle, from the result point of view, it was still an instant kill. Even if the opponent had trump cards, they simply didn't have time to react. Such is the nature of a cultivator's battle. Victory or defeat often decided in the blink of an eye. There's nothing like a long drawn-out battle of 300 rounds. It is like a gunman's duel on the battlefield, finding an opportunity, and killing the opponent with just a single shot. No need for a second shot. It's the same principle here. Of course, this battle also made him realize the limitations of the Dream Soul Goo, it was not as invincible as he had imagined. If the opponent possesses a treasure that can resist soul attacks, they could exhibit a great resistance, and it would basically be impossible for the Dream Soul Goo to instantly kill this type of cultivator. But he doesn't think that the Dream Soul Goo is completely useless. The reason Dream Soul Goo couldn't deal with the foundation-building cultivators was only because the Dream Soul Goo was currently at the first stage. If it advanced to the second stage, its power would also increase geometrically. By then, the power of dreaming will become even more fierce, so even if the opponent has a soul artifact for defense, it will be futile. It's like wearing a bulletproof vest, but a powerful bullet can still penetrate it with a single shot. At best, it can only resist the bullets of ordinary handguns. This is a contest between a spear and a shield, seeing which side's power is stronger. Even if it fails, it doesn't matter. After all, it's just the clone taking action. Even if discovered by the enemy, it's only the clone that will suffer. The power of the Dream Soul Goo, combined with the power of a clone, is virtually unbeatable from the start. If I can't beat it, run. If I can beat it, kill it instantly. It's foolproof. Zhou Sui found that the power of these two goo insects complemented each other perfectly, able to invisibly kill. As for him, the original body, remote monitoring was enough. He didn't need to take risks personally. There's no safer way to fight than this. Chapter 85, all done by the demon cultivators, por Su. Soul Search. As soon as Zhou Sui thought of this, he immediately activated the power of the Dream Soul Goo to search the souls of these ghost demon sect cultivators. This attack was not merely an act of revenge, but he also wanted to gather information about the ghost demon sect. Swish! Immediately, the souls of these just deceased cultivators from the ghost demon sect were devoured by the Dream Soul Goo. Vast amounts of soul memories and soul energy were absorbed into the body of the Dream Soul Goo. At this moment, the aura of the Dream Soul Goo was growing stronger gradually, evolving towards the second stage. What? This Sutians dares to make a move against me? Quite gutsy. Damn, he died too early, he got off cheap. Zhou Sui's expression changed, clenching his teeth in anger. Normally, he was the one making moves against others, now this kid dared to make a move against him. This was intolerable. He couldn't bear this. After gaining the memory about Sutians, he immediately came to know why Sutians wanted to assassinate him secretly. Because this guy practiced a demonic cultivation technique and had set his eyes on Ji Binjiu and others. He even eyed Xia Jinjian's inner charming body. This was of great benefit to Sutian's cultivation practice, an excellent furnace indeed. But because of his presence, he had been staying at home, rarely leaving the courtyard. Sutians never got the chance to get in touch with Ji Binjiu and the others for these 2 years. This led Sutians to bear a deep grudge against Zhou Sui, constantly hatching schemes to harm him. Previously, this kid had tried to invite him to explore relics and hidden caves. This was just one of his schemes. If he had really agreed, once he was out in the wild, he would definitely be ambushed by demonic cultivators. He would have been certain to die. So that's how it was. All the loose cultivators who went to explore the caves last time actually all died. The reason why they survived and came back was only because the ghost demon sect cultivators changed their appearance, disguised as those loose cultivators, and infiltrated Misty Cloud City. This kid was really ruthless. He usually pretends to be a charitable person on the surface, but secretly conspires to kill and seize treasures. This guy is simply a born demon. Zhou Sui was relived, he was not impulsive, was not greedy, and hardly went out on adventures. If he had really listened to this kid, he feared his ashes would have been scattered by now. How could he have lived safely till today? Luckily, he found the opportunity today to slaughter this kid, otherwise there would have been no end to the schemes. The conflict between the Immortal Mist sect and the Ghost Demon sect was so fierce. Zhou Sui narrowed his eyes. From the memories of these Ghost Demon sect cultivators, he obtained many helpful pieces of information. Such as the conflict between the Ghost Demon sect and the Immortal Mist sect, the struggle among Golden Core cultivators, etc. These were all top-secret information that was hard to know for a loose cultivator, except for sect disciples. After knowing this information, he was able to understand and make some judgment about the upcoming situation. He also knew that he had inadvertently thwarted an important operation of the Ghost Demon sect this time. If he hadn't taken action, it feared that the disciples of Immortal Mist sect in Misty Cloud City would have been victims. The 7th Order formation of Misty Cloud City would have surely been broken. How many cultivators inside could have survived was unknown. It was really like when immortals fight, mortals suffer. Zhou Sui sighed deeply. Originally, Misty Cloud City had been peacefully situated on the edge of the Misty Cloud mountain range, passing 100 years peacefully. The life of loose cultivators was delightful. However, who could have expected that he would become embroiled in the strife between the Ghost Demon sect and the Immortal Mist sect, on the brink of destruction now? The many places upon which loose cultivators relied for survival were also about to disappear. From then on, who knew if they could find a place like Misty Cloud City suitable for loose cultivators to survive? At that moment, a thought flashed through Zhou Sui's mind, as his clone sensed that there seemed to be loose cultivators approaching. Perhaps it was the sudden fluctuations from the fight that had just occurred, which the neighboring cultivators had sensed, so they came over to check out the situation. Swoosh! Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate any longer. With a sweep of his hand, he immediately collected all the storage bags from the ghost demon sect cultivators. Inside them were the lifelong treasures of Qi cultivation 9th layer cultivators. Its value was self-evident. Obtaining these storage bags could undoubtedly make him a fortune. However, now wasn't the time to meticulously examine his gains. Boom! Immediately after, his clone cast the fireball technique, starting fires around and incinerating the corpses. In a short while, the whole room had begun to blaze fiercely, causing a massive fire. Whoosh! The next second, his clone silently left that place, undetected by anyone. As for the gold-eating bug, it burrowed directly into the ground, disappearing instantly from the scene. It was as if no one had ever been there. In not much time, the neighboring cultivators noticed the fire catastrophe unfolding in Su Tian's home with towering flames. The fire was so fierce that it was almost uncontrollable. In just a moment, the house had burnt to a pile of ashes. The many cultivators were running around in panic, casting various water element skills, finally bringing the fire under control and preventing it from spreading to other houses. No way, isn't this Su Daist's house? How did it suddenly catch fire? Bullshit, this is not a sudden fire, it was intentionally set. This is murder and arson. It's brutal, it must be the work of robbing cultivators. Damn it, those robbing cultivators and demon cultivators are inhuman, targeting such a good person like Su Daist. Poor Su Daist, with his customary generosity, he had even given us top-grade talismans, and to think he could be murdered by demon cultivators, it's just awful. Good people die young, while evil lingers on. How sad that Su Daist, being such a good person, could fall victim to a plot. We should report this incident to the Immortal Mist sect, and hope that they can capture those despicable demon cultivators. Haha, what use is the Immortal Mist sect? The city is now full of demon cultivators and robbing cultivators. They can only capture a few. That's right, we should be careful. Now that Su Daist is targeted, the next one could be us. Sigh, if I knew Misty Cloud City was so dangerous, I should have just fled, rather than being trapped here. Don't be stupid. If you had tried to run away earlier, you would have been killed by the ghost demon sect cultivators by now, and you wouldn't be alive today. Indeed, although living in Misty Cloud City is chaotic and there's a shortage of food, those demon cultivators are even crueler. Once you fall into their hands, it becomes a matter of life and death. The many loose cultivators were filled with righteous anger and outrage. Su Tian's reputation on this street was extremely good, often being charitable, offering the talismans he concocted. He was known as the generous Su Tians. Now, such a good person has been killed by the demon cultivators, which naturally stirred up anger among people. However, the surrounding loose cultivators just felt anger, none planned to avenge Su Tians. After all, they were just passing acquaintances. Even if he was a good person, he was not worth their risking their lives to avenge Su Tians. Their friendship never reached the stage of life and death. The most they did was angrily curse at the demon cultivators. Chapter 86, 5,000 middle-grade spirit stones, all are fat sheep. An hour later, Zhou Sui's clone, carrying the storage bags obtained from the ghost demon sect cultivators, directly entered the underground shelter. As a result of more than a year of excavation by the gold-eating bugs, there was not just one entrance to the home. Living by the adage a wise rabbit has 3 burrows, he had dug 5 or 6 hidden entrances. Of course, the reason he did not bring the storage bags back to his home was purely due to concerns that these storage bags from the ghost demon sect cultivators might contain some special methods. This was not an impossibility. To avoid the ghost demon sect locating his real body, his clone took these storage bags into the underground cave. In this way, no matter how many tricks the ghost demon sect cultivators had, they would be of no avail. Because the earth could block divine sense, mana, scent, and all kinds of skills and methods. Tisk tisk, the cultivators of the ghost demon sect really do carry a lot of treasures on them, he remarked. After making all the necessary preparations, Zhou Sui began to examine his loot with a calm heart. He unhesitatingly opened these 10 storage bags. What filled his sight was a large number of spirit stones, and quite a few of them were middle-grade spirit stones. Upon careful counting, the number of spirit stones alone amount to 5,000 middle-grade spirit stones. This was equivalent to 500,000 lower-grade spiritual stones. It was easy to imagine what a huge fortune this was. However, thinking carefully, this seemed normal. These people were all cultivators of the Qi cultivation Nineth layer. Even if each person had only 50,000 lower-grade spirit stones, that was a considerable amount when put together. He had basically looted 10 cultivators in the late Qi cultivation stage. Without a doubt, just the quantity of the spirit stones he got from the looting this time would have been enough for him to sell a spiritual wine for several years. It must be said that demonic path cultivators are indeed affluent. After all, they don't produce anything, they specialize in robbing other cultivators, and are engaged in life or death trades. As long as they weren't killed, they would inevitably have a large amount of wealth on them. However, once they faltered, they would vanish and their accumulated wealth over the years would fall into the hands of others. The most precious ones must be these 3 second stage Thunderbolt talismans, Zhou Sui said, looking at the 3 second stage Thunderbolt talismans he had just taken from the storage bag. As it's known, the second stage talisman also had different levels ranging from low grade, middle grade to high grade etc. As a high grade second stage Thunderbolt talisman, its value was self-evident. It simply couldn't be measured in spirit stones. Because such a talisman was simply not available for sale in the outside world. One such talisman was equivalent to a full-strength blow from a foundation-building cultivator. For ordinary cultivators, it was an extremely terrifying weapon. Often, when a Thunderbolt talisman was thrown out, it was not known how many Qi practitioners could be annihilated. Even a foundation builder would be instantly gravely injured by such a talisman. The Ghost Demon Sect cultivator had acquired these 3 high-grade second-stage Thunderbolt talismans indeed as a gift from the sect master, for the purpose of dealing with that flock of immortal mist sect cultivators. Fortunately, it was a sneak attack, killing them before they had a chance to react. If it had been a face-to-face confrontation, allowing them to pull out these second-stage talismans, this might have ended up very badly, Zhou Sui pondered deeply. Such was the danger of the cultivation world. Even if the opponent seemed harmless, just a Qi practitioner alone. But who could know what kind of bottom cards and methods they have in their possession? If a few second-stage talismans were pulled out, it could threaten a foundation-building cultivator, and even lead to their downfall. Therefore, caution should be taken no matter what. Otherwise, one could easily be calculated by the enemy at any time, and be killed without knowing how one died. These Ghost Demon Sect cultivators were a case in point. If they had really had a face-to-face confrontation with him, perhaps they could have indeed caused him a certain degree of trouble. However, Zhou Sui was not so foolish as to have a face-to-face confrontation with the enemy. If he could launch a surprise attack from the shadows, he would definitely not compete in broad daylight. This was a showdown to the death, not a martial arts contest. The goal was to win however he could. But now, these 3 high-grade second-stage Thunderbolt talismans belonged to him and are his trump cards. With these 3 second-stage talismans, even if he was really confronted by a foundation-building cultivator, he had a way to resist. One becomes rich through windfalls, Zhou Sui touched his chin, feeling very satisfied. Even with no spirit stones, these 3 second-stage Thunderbolt talismans alone were enough to make up for everything. If sold, the price of a single high-grade second-stage Thunderbolt talisman might exceed 1,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Of course, apart from the second-stage talismans, these demonic path cultivators also possessed many first-stage talismans. There were hard ice symbols, fireball talismans, intense poison talismans, smoke talismans, earth collapse talismans, and so on. They were crowded together. Combining the 10 demonic path cultivators, at least 200 to 300 first-stage talismans could be found. This is insane, is it an arsenal? They prepared this many talismans. Upon seeing so many talismans, the corner of Zhou Sui's mouth twitched. He also got a taste of the might of the demonic cultivators. They didn't have too many pills on them, but they carried numerous magic artifacts and talismans, along with various tricky methods. It seemed like they were all fully armed, and could draw a mountain of grenades from their bodies at any time. In fact, talismans were akin to the grenades and cannonballs on Earth in his previous life. Admittedly, ordinary cultivators could also cast spells to attack their enemies. The problem was that casting a spell also required a certain amount of time. In a life-or-death battle, who would give you the time to cast a spell? You would definitely be struck down the moment you tried to attack. At this time, talismans held a very important position. Because using a talisman doesn't require any casting time, just triggering the power of the talisman could cause an instant explosion. In this way, the enemy would have no time to react. Talismans could indeed save your life in a critical moment, and even be used to counterattack the enemy. The talisman master could become one of the 4 great arts in the cultivation world, not without reason. Especially in the cultivation world where battles were frequent, talismans were even more consumed than pills. If a cultivator didn't carry 10 or more talismans on him, he was undoubtedly a docile sheep. This was like someone carrying a firearm but without any bullets. These ghost demon sect cultivators had a large number of first-stage talismans on them because they had been in a combat environment for many years. Sometimes, when encountering enemies, throwing out dozens of talismans in an instant could severely wound the enemy. There are too many cautious cultivators in this world, I need to be wary, Zhou Sui exclaimed after witnessing the methods of these demon cultivators. He was immediately alert, and once again made up his mind, he definitely could not engage in close combat with these demon cultivators. The attacks must be from afar. Far enough that even if the enemy wanted to self-detonate, it wouldn't hurt him. Otherwise, if the enemy suddenly threw out dozens of talismans and tried to perish together with him, then he would be completely finished. Chapter 87, Huge Harvest, Spiritual Medicine for Refining Foundation Pills. Tisk tisk, there are so many secret manuals from the ghost demon sect. Zhou Sui continued to look at the treasures in the storage bag, discovering there were many texts on the demonic path. However, each manual of the demonic path carried significant side effects. For instance, Heavenly Demon Disintegration, it would allow one to burn their own chi and blood, temporarily gaining strength several times their original strength, but once the outburst ended, one would most likely die from exhaustion. Generally, without a choice, no one would use this cultivation technique. There was also the 7 corrections, an extremely toxic technique. The ghost demon sect bred a rare, extremely poisonous snake called the 7 correction snake. It possessed 7 heads, each so venomous that any creature bitten by just one of them would choke on their own blood. Demon cultivators of the ghost demon sect used the venomous blood of the 7 correction snake to practice the 7 corrections. To practice it, one would have to swallow the snake's bile and a specially prepared antidote to control the poison. Once the technique was perfected, it was unbeatable. Those poisoned would instantly die, and the wind produced by the cultivator's fingers would carry the toxin. However, once this poisonous technique was perfected, one's body would suffer intense corrosion from the poison, enduring extreme pain at all times. 10,000 Tortures Technique, another technique of the ghost demon sect, was part of the zombie techniques, and it was notoriously evil. When attacking, both the palm and claws would be used and within an instant could tear the opponent to pieces. The user of the technique would become immune to ordinary swords and knives. They would only get hurt after consuming 3 to 5 portions of their true yuan. But the higher the level of this technique practiced, the faster one would turn into a zombie. By the time it happened, the user would become entirely rigid, invaded by deathly energy, and lose all consciousness. Its only advantage was that it offered a quick fix and allowed the user to rapidly acquire immense power. In addition to these, there were many other similar demonic techniques. They all had one common feature: they offered quick results, were effective, and powerful. They, however, often led to death quickly, causing severe pain, and were brutally harsh. No wonder so many cultivators disdain demon cultivators. These techniques are purely destructive and also consume one's lifespan. If one aims to cultivate and become immortal, naturally, they would want a long life. But these demon cultivators do the opposite, consuming their own lifespans to obtain immense power. It's completely backwards. Upon seeing these demonic techniques, Zhou Sui expressed his feelings again and again. He finally realized why people universally despised demon cultivators. These techniques were simply too evil and cruel. They were harmful to both heaven and earth, and caused harm to others without benefiting themselves. Normal cultivators could not tolerate the behavior of demon cultivators. Some people despised the hypocritical actions of the orthodox sects. However, he did not think so. Even if the orthodox sects were somewhat hypocritical, at least they didn't slaughter indiscriminately. They always drew a line of morality and maintained order. The oppressed common people still had a chance to survive. Demon cultivators, on the other hand, had no boundaries. They killed anyone they met, whether they were evil or good, harming the victims without benefiting themselves. However, he also knew that it was impossible to eliminate demon cultivators. Because most demon cultivators were those with low spiritual roots, many of them had lower-grade spiritual roots. The Orthodox sects only accepted cultivators with mid-grade spiritual roots or above, leaving many cultivators without a path to follow. However, the demonic path welcomed everyone. As long as one had a spiritual root, they could become a demon cultivator, learn demonic cultivation techniques, without any discrimination. So, for those with lower-grade spiritual roots, they only had two choices. Either become a loose cultivator or a demon cultivator. Because the majority of demon cultivators had average aptitudes, if they didn't possess exceptional opportunities, it would basically be impossible for them to hope for foundation establishment in their lifetime. However, since they've embarked on the path of cultivation, who would willingly fall halfway and watch their lifespan run out? So these demon cultivators started behaving more ruthless and aggressive. In order to further their cultivation path, they used every means possible. Even if they have to practice demonic techniques with great side effects, as long as they could quickly master power and elevate their cultivation level, everything could be compensated once they became a foundation-building cultivator. Feed all these demonic secret manuals to the bookworm. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. He meticulously inspected these demonic secret manuals. Quite frankly, he didn't need a single one. He had the hope of immortality, why would he need to practice such rapid cultivation techniques? Of course, it doesn't mean these demonic secret manuals are useless. For the bookworm, they were essentially food. The more books it consumed, the faster it grew, and it could also increase its time of realization, helping it quickly understand various kinds of knowledge. There seemed to be quite a few magic artifacts as well. Zhou Sui continued to check the contents of the storage bag. Besides talismans, demonic secret manuals, spirit stones, the most valuable treasures were magic artifacts. Being cultivators at the Qi cultivation 9th layer, they certainly would not be using ordinary magic artifacts. They would generally have at least one top-grade magic weapon. In total, there would be at least 10 top-grade magic weapons. Apart from that, there were over 100 lower-grade magical tools, several dozens of middle-grade ones. These magical tools were probably all robbed from others by these demon cultivators because normal cultivators wouldn't have so many magic artifacts. If he were to sell all these magic artifacts, he could probably get thousands of middle-grade spirit stones. It would be quite an astonishing fortune. Unquestionably, just from what he had procured earlier, he had acquired treasures worth over 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones. This was simply striking it rich overnight. Wait, these spiritual medicines, could they be for the foundation pill? Suddenly, Zhou Sui was taken aback. He was checking the remaining treasures in the storage bag, which were all spiritual medicines. He astonishingly found dozens of varieties of spiritual medicines, most were recorded in the foundation pill formula. Aside from the primary herb, golden jade lingzi, all other spiritual medicines were available. Altogether, there were at least enough for concocting 5 sets of the foundation pill. Right, Sutians and others were cultivators at the Qi cultivation 9th layer, they were not too far from reaching the foundation establishment realm, so naturally, they needed to start considering the foundation establishment. The problem is, even if they were cultivators of the ghost demon sect, obtaining the foundation pill was not an easy task. Aside from true disciples, ordinary disciples basically had no chance of getting the foundation pill. So these demon cultivators naturally thought of obtaining the foundation pill from other sources, collecting the herbs for concocting the pill and then partnering with a second stage pill master to concoct the foundation pill. This is a method used by many cultivators to obtain the foundation pill. Zhou Sui instantly understood from the memories of those demon cultivators why they would have so many sets of herbs for concocting the foundation pill. These were preparations made by the demon cultivators for their own foundation establishment. Unfortunately, these demon cultivators would never have guessed. The spiritual medicines which they painstakingly gathered over countless years for concocting the foundation pill were all left to Zhou Sui. This was simply like preparing a dowry for someone else. Zhou Sui was greatly favored and saved a lot of time in collecting herbs. Next, as long as he could find golden jade lingzi, or a second stage demon core, he could start attempting to concoct the foundation pill. Chapter 88, Barbaric Elephant Grass, Refining the Dragon Elephant Goo. Of course, aside from the spiritual medicine used to refine foundation pills, these storage bags contained many other types of spiritual medicine. These medicines were basically plundered from other cultivators. Since these demonic cultivators were not pill masters, so they had tossed these spiritual medicines into the storage bags, waiting to sell them later. However, to Zhou Sui, a high-grade alchemist, he recognized each and every strand of spiritual medicine himself. After all, he had used the bookworm to devour a large number of books about pill masters, many of which were about spiritual medicines. As a result, he had an extraordinary memory, having memorized everything he had ever read. This was a memory power far beyond that of any cultivator. Tisk tisk, it's actually 100-year-old heavenly lotus flower, this is incredible, it's worth at least thousands of lower-grade spiritual stones. Is this the rootless vine? This is one of the spiritual medicines used in refining the golden marrow pill. This seems to be the calming mind flower, it has certain benefits to the soul and can help cultivators to meditate better. Honestly speaking, just how many cultivators have these demon cultivators robbed to have obtained so many spiritual medicines? Wait a minute, what medicinal herb is this? Are you kidding me, is this the barbaric elephant grass? In the blink of an eye, while Zhou Sui was carefully inspecting each and every strand of spiritual medicine, he was suddenly struck with excitement, his whole body shuddering as though he'd been struck by lightning. His eyes shone with a terrifying light, as if his blood was boiling. Immediately, he took out the medicinal herb, which was enveloped by a savage energy, as if it were flowing with the terrifying power and vigor of an ancient barbaric elephant. Previously, he had searched for the barbaric elephant grass countless times with no success, never expecting to find it among these demon cultivators. His eyes widened in disbelief, carefully examining the medicinal herb up and down, afraid of having recognized the wrong plant. That's great! Zhou Sui clenched his fist, his excitement reaching its peak. It's true that he had searched high and low with no luck, and the effortless windfall was all the more rewarding. Just before, he was thinking about how to obtain the barbaric elephant grass, even considering asking Suanbao Tower for help. However, who could have thought that this special plant had suddenly emerged, appearing right in front of him? With the barbaric elephant grass, plus other materials like the dragon-transforming ginseng, he would be able to refine the coveted dragon elephant goo. You must know, the power contained in the dragon elephant goo was tantalizing to him. Once successful in refining it, he would possess the dragon elephant's body, and even the power of the dragon elephant. Even without any body tempering skills, he would possess the strongest physique. Of course, most importantly, he needed to regain his manhood in front of his wives. To reclaim the dignity of a man. First, I'll take this barbaric elephant grass back. Zhou Sui had a thought and immediately ordered the gold-eating bug to bring this barbaric elephant grass back home. As for the other treasures in the storage bag, they could be left here for the time being. There was no rush to deal with them later. Right now, there was nothing more important than the barbaric elephant grass as a treasure. Swoosh! In no time, a gold-eating bug safely returned home with the barbaric elephant grass. Let's begin. Zhou Sui's eyes shone brightly as he didn't hesitate to throw the barbaric elephant grass, dragon-transforming ginseng, and a heap of other auxiliary materials into the goo divine bowl. At the same time, a large number of spiritual stones began to burn, transforming into pure energy, powering up the goo divine bowl. This time, a full 200,000 lower-grade spiritual stones were burned. Of course, such a small amount of spirit stones was not a significant loss for him. It was not as negligible as a single hair from 9 oxen, but it definitely didn't break the bank. Boom, rumble, rumble. Almost instantly, the goo divine bowl started to vibrate. Numerous ancient mysterious runes surfaced, emitting an old aura, as the materials inside were instantly refined by the bowl, transforming into a cloud of chaotic mists. From the depths of the mist, a massive form of power began to permeate, seemingly fostering the birth of a life form. In the mist, the shapes of a divine dragon, soaring through the clouds, and a divine elephant battling the heavens and earth appeared. It seemed as if they were ancient creatures that had existed since time immemorial, possessing unimaginable power and everlasting lives. Boom! In an instant, when the two supreme divine beasts faced each other, a battle erupted. Like water and fire that couldn't coexist, the two divine beasts were the same. It was purely instinctual combat, or perhaps it was a boiling of the bloodline. The divine dragon and the divine elephant were fighting ceaselessly in the depths of the mist, with every collision resulting in terrifying energy fluctuations. It was as if an ancient myth was being brought to life, as if Gong Gong and Zhu Rong were engaged in a fierce battle. The entire goo divine bowl hummed and surfaced infinite mysterious runes. Golden rays of light infused into the bowl. There were flashes of thunder and trembling of the earth, and numerous other phenomena appeared. Such phenomena had never appeared when Zhou Sui was refining other goo insects. But they did when he was refining the dragon elephant goo. This enough to prove the extraordinary and unparalleled characteristics of the Gu. Zhou Sui was very nervous, unsure whether this refinement would be a success or failure. He didn't know how much time had passed, but it seemed the battle between the divine elephant and divine dragon had ended. They were both heavily wounded and their huge bodies fell into the chaotic mist. Rustle, rustle. Mists of chaos entered their bodies, melting them into nothingness, which then transformed into a mysterious type of energy. In an instant, countless chaotic mists condensed, forming a physical body, with the divine elephant and divine dragon merging together, intertwined and becoming one. Immediately afterward, a golden Gu insect appeared in the Gu divine bowl. It exuded a majestic, unfathomable aura with terrifying life force flowing within. It seemed that with a moment's roar, it could echo through heaven and earth. Its tiny body hid unimaginable potential and power, as if the divine dragon and elephant resided in it. It emitted an extremely ancient and desolate aura. It leisurely roamed around in the void. Even without wings, it could travel through the air. When its four limbs were on the ground, it felt like it possessed infinite strength and life force. It was the overlord of the sky and the monarch of the land. Even though it was just a Gu insect, it radiated a force and aura on par with a divine beast. Rustle, rustle. The next second, Zhou Sui instantly felt an influx of information from the depths of the golden Gu insect's body. It poured into his sea of consciousness. Dragon Elephant Gu, one of the heavenly earthly wondrous insects, fused with the ancient divine dragon and hell elephant's bloodline to form. When it grows to its peak, it would have the powers of a divine dragon and elephant. It can fly through the heavens, delve into the netherworld, rise through clouds, change into various forms, and is nearly omnipotent. Note, nurture it well. If it does not perish, it is a Gu insect destined to be as powerful as a deity. Its powers and talents will grow along with your cultivation, its potential is endless. At that moment, Zhou Sui activated Insect God Sutra, this peerless immortal scripture. He felt his soul instantly fuse with the dragon elephant Gu, as if he could control the Gu insect at a whim. Whoosh! As if sensing something, dragon elephant Gu detached itself from the Gu divine bowl, and instantly entered Zhou Sui's body. It moved along the blood vessels and finally took up residence in the depths of his heart. Chapter 89, Strength surpasses 3,000 kilograms, breaking through the lifespan limit. What? Zhou Sui was instantly taken aback as he felt a mysterious stream of blood power pouring into him from the dragon elephant Gu. It seemed to stem from the dragon elephant's bloodline, possessing an unimaginable power. He found that when this mysterious power entered his body, his blood, muscles, meridians, bones, and skin all underwent earth-shattering changes. His body was visibly strengthening at a crazy rate. Originally, his cultivation had been advanced to the Qi cultivation 7th layer, and merely by relying on the power of true Yuan, his physical fitness could be several times that of ordinary humans. However, this could never compare to those who had practiced the body tempering skill. Because those cultivators could shatter magic artifacts with bare hands, withstand spells with their bodies, they're ferociously formidable. The quality of a normal cultivator's body is a weakness, inferior to those who practice body cultivation. The problem is that becoming a body cultivator requires a lot of resources, body tempering talent, and a strong will. But now things have changed. Thanks to the assistance of the dragon elephant Gu's power, Zhou Sui found that he didn't have to practice any body tempering techniques. Simply circulating this mysterious blood power within his body was enough. His physique was rising geometrically. This exceeded any body tempering technique in the cultivation world. Clearly, the dragon elephant Gu didn't just refine its host's physique, it directly transformed the host's body into a dragon elephant's body and let it wield the power of the dragon elephant. Amazing, is this the legendary kind of Gu insect? Just one thread of blood power and it can transform the body to this extent. Zhou Sui was amazed. He felt that his current body transformation was absolutely astonishing. A mere punch could now equal a force of 3,000 kilograms. Even those body cultivators with innate godlike strength might not be able to match his current self. Compared with before, both his strength and speed had drastically improved. And this was just the beginning. Wait, it seems that not only my strength and physique have been enhanced, but my lifespan has also been extended. Zhou Sui looked at his virtual panel. He surprisingly found that although his previous lifespan limit was 150 years and he would need to consume precious lifespan extension pills to break this limit. Or he would need to break through his cultivation and become a foundation establishment cultivator to extend the lifespan. But now, after his body absorbed a lot of mysterious blood power, his lifespan limit had been broken and extended to 160 years. Compared to the original, this was an increase of 10 years. This increase was quite astonishing, better than any ordinary lifespan extension pill. But it seems the dragon elephant goo has deflated. Originally, Zhou Sui wanted to absorb a second stream of mysterious blood power, but he quickly found that after the dragon elephant goo spat out a lot of blood power, it seemed to be seriously injured and began to deflate and was unable to spit out the second thread of mysterious blood power for some time. Clearly, the newly born dragon elephant goo could only provide help once in a short period of time. It will take one month to cultivate a second stream of blood power, Zhou Sui thought as he got this message from dragon elephant goo. Clearly, this mysterious blood power is not infinite, it could only be provided once a month. But he felt that this was more than enough. Once a month, there were 12 opportunities to enhance his physique in a year. In 10 years, there would be 120 times. After many years, the changes made will be quite astonishing. The longer he lived, the longer the transformation of his body could be, unending. In the end, he might truly be able to transform into a dragon elephant's body, and master unimaginable power. Moreover, this gradual change is beneficial for him. Because if the change is too drastic, his mortal body may not be able to bear it. He could be torn apart and die. But if he evolves once a month, it's the best choice, giving the body time to evolve and adapt. I'm so hungry, Zhou Sui felt. At this moment, Zhou Sui found that his stomach was incredibly hungry, growling like a drum, as if he had not eaten for 3 days and nights, and his body felt waves of emptiness. At this moment, he had merged with the dragon elephant goo. When the dragon elephant goo felt hungry, he would feel the same. This hunger almost made him faint and topple over. Thinking of this, Zhou Sui mustered a bit of strength, left the meditation room, and came to the kitchen. Fortunately, there was still plenty of food left from last night's meal, basically stored in the ice cellar, and they were all cooked. It just needed a slight reheat and he could eat it right away. Plop plop. Fire up, cook rice. Chunks of frozen monster meat were quickly cooked, then the ice melted to reveal the fragrant monster meat. It was simply mouth-watering. Zhou Sui felt that every cell in his body was excitedly shouting, wanting to eat this high-energy food as soon as possible. Gurgle gurgle. Without hesitation, Zhou Sui bit into it, swallowing the meat like a wolf, and quickly had the meat enter his stomach. At this moment, his stomach was like a furnace, surrounded by the power of the dragon elephant goo. The moment it entered, the meat was instantly digested, then converted into energy and flowed into his body cells, providing massive energy. The dragon elephant goo, who had originally been weak, seemed to have slightly regained some vitality at this moment, as if it was filling up. He ate for a whole hour. And he ate 300 kilograms of beast meat, almost clearing out all the frozen monster meat stored here. Only then did he manage to temporarily fill his stomach. Why has my appetite become so big? Zhou Sui was amazed. Because his previous appetite was similar to that of ordinary cultivators, he could only eat 2 or 3 kilograms of beast meat on normal days. After all, beast meat was not like ordinary meat, it contained huge energy. A kilogram of beast meat was equivalent to 100 kilograms of regular pork. Ordinary cultivators could satisfy their daily needs by eating 1 or 2 kilograms of beast meat. But now, he had consumed 200 to 300 kilograms of beast meat. This was like eating several times his own weight. Undoubtedly, this would be enough to make a cultivator's stomach burst from overeating. But Zhou Sui didn't feel this way because his body, which had been transformed by the dragon elephant goo, had an astonishing ability to digest stomach content. When these meats entered the stomach, they were quickly digested and transformed into energy. So even after eating 300 kilograms of beast meat, there was no change in his stomach, like a bag of holding. Is this the dragon elephant goo's side effect? It's making my appetite so much bigger. Zhou Sui was astonished. In fact, the power of the dragon elephant goo didn't appear out of thin air, it needed to absorb energy from the outside world. Those meats, pills, and spiritual medicines were suitable for replenishing the dragon elephant goo's depleted energy. Especially those high-grade beast meats, they were the most suitable for replenishing the dragon elephant goo's energy. Chapter 90, Blood like a Furnace, Dragon Elephant's Body. Good thing I stored a lot of food. Zhou Sui felt somewhat relieved. He had stocked up more than 10 years' worth of food, including demonic beast meat, spirit rice, and vegetables, and so on. Even if his appetite inflated by several times, he could at least hold on for 4 or 5 years. If you add the pills into the equation, then he could last even longer. So, he didn't need to worry about his home's food supply being quickly depleted and left him with an empty stomach. "Honey, you came to the kitchen for a meal this late at night." At this time, Ji Binjiu, Xia Jinjian, and Mu Ziyi all emerged from the bedroom upon hearing the noise in the kitchen. They looked at Zhou Sui curiously. Zhou Sui never used to get up in the middle of the night to eat before. This was the first time. But the moment they saw Zhou Sui, they felt as if the man before them suddenly changed, becoming more robust. The vital energy in his body burned like a furnace, incredibly vigorous. It was as if a ferocious beast lived in Zhou Sui's body. But they didn't feel any fear. Instead, they felt a sense of security. "Haha, I just had a breakthrough in my cultivation, and suddenly felt hungry, so I came to the kitchen for some food," Zhou Sui just laughed. "A breakthrough in cultivation? Was it the body tempering skill?" Ji Binjiu's eyes lit up instantly. She came close, feeling Zhou Sui's body. She immediately sensed that her husband's body had become several times more robust than before. It seemed like each muscular inch contained explosive power. And the body was extremely proportionate, filled with a sense of ultimate beauty that was irresistible. "Yes." Zhou Sui nodded, not planning to hide anything. He attributed all the changes in his body to the body tempering skill. "My husband is incredible to have successfully practiced the body tempering skill." Mu Ziyi's beautiful eyes shimmered with uncertainty. She smelled Zhou Sui's scent and immediately felt her heart pounding, as if Zhou Sui had become even more attractive now. "Body tempering skill? Is it really that amazing? Isn't it merely for a show?" Xia Jinjian blinked her beautiful eyes and watched Zhou Sui curiously. "Merely for a show? Things are different now." Zhou Sui clenched his fist, his eyes showing a glimmer of excitement. He could feel the power of the dragon-elephant goo surging within him, like having the dragon-elephant bloodline. He had a hard time suppressing the impulse within his body, and it must be released. It seemed to be the instinct of a dragon, almost impossible to restrain. Hearing this, Ji Binjiu and the others blushed and looked at the man before them with annoyance. They knew exactly what was on this man's mind. A moment later, the spring scene filled the bedroom. Not until the third watch of the night did the room quiet down. It was only to be expected. The refinement from the power of the dragon-elephant goo substantially improved Zhou Sui's physical quality and stamina. Compared to before, he was several times stronger. At this moment, at a camp outside Misty Cloud City. This place was the main camp of the Ghost Demon Sect's Foundation building cultivators, responsible for monitoring every movement of Misty Cloud City. Many demon cultivators were stationed here. They attacked Misty Cloud City's 7th Order formation 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, like clockwork, persistently draining the energy of the spirit stones in Misty Cloud City. Su Tian's and the others' life tokens have disappeared. They're already dead inside Misty Cloud City. A black-robed demon cultivator said. The moment Su Tian's and the others died, their life tokens stored in the sect also shattered completely. At the same time, he also knew that Su Tian's and others must have died. How is that possible? Didn't we tell them to hide so as not to be discovered by the Immortal Mist sect? How were they killed? A bald-headed, foundation-building demon cultivator frowned. Even the sect master gave them 3 top-tier second-stage thunder talismans, and they just died like this? How useless! He assumed that the murderer was definitely a cultivator from the Immortal Mist sect. After all, Su Tian's and the others were all cultivators of Qi cultivation 9th layer, each with many tricks up their sleeves. They would not have been killed if it weren't for the Immortal Mist sect cultivators. As for loose cultivators trying to kill his Ghost Demon sect disciples, that was sheer nonsense and utterly impossible. Now he was half dead with anger. The deaths of Su Tian's and the others had disrupted the Ghost Demon sect's plan. If they were not able to cause internal chaos, they would struggle to break Misty Cloud City's large formation. They could only watch in irritation as the Immortal Mist sect cultivators hid in Misty Cloud City, helpless. But now that Su Tian's and the others were dead, he could do nothing about it. He surely couldn't bring these disciples back to life just to kill them again. Perhaps the Immortal Mist sect disciples had long sensed their deception and ambushed them secretly, so they didn't even have the chance to use the second stage talisman and disappeared. It's even possible that it was Lang Yuexi who made the move. The black-robed demon cultivator's eyes shone. It seems we underestimated that Immortal Mist sect young sect master, Lang Yuexi. We thought it was foolproof, but they still detected the trick. We can't easily believe the words of our mole in the Lu family anymore, otherwise, we will definitely fall into their trap. He thought the reputation of that immortal mist sect young sect master, Lang Yuexi, was not unfounded. She was even more clever and alert than the rumors suggested. Even in such a predicament, she could find the demon cultivator hidden in Misty Cloud City, and disrupted their ghost demon sect's plan. The difficulty of dealing with them exceeded his imagination. Senior brother, what should we do now? Without ghost demon sect disciples inside to sabotage the formation, I am afraid that we cannot break this second stage formation with our strength alone. The bald-headed demon cultivator was quite frustrated. Don't rush. The black-robed demon cultivator waved his hand. Now those two immortal mist sect golden core old turtles dare not come out, time is on our side. If we can't undermine it from the inside, then we will attack from the front. The daily consumption of spirit stones to maintain a second stage formation is astounding. I don't believe that this Misty Cloud City can hold on for long. Once the spirit stones are exhausted, the formation will naturally break. He was quite calm. Spending several years to attack a second stage formation was common. For instance, in the case of some cultivators' cave ruins, many cultivators destroyed the formation continuously for over 10 years to get the treasures inside. The same principle applied here. Senior brother sure is patient. In that case, we can only wait. Damn immortal mist sect cultivators, once the formation is broken, no one inside will survive. Especially the one who killed our ghost demon sect disciples. He is bound to die. The bald-headed demon cultivator's eyes flashed with a cold glint. He was utterly ruthless. The other ghost demon sect cultivators also nodded unanimously.